Are you ready to rock and roll?
I just said don't say that.
Are you ready to rock and roll?
What are you, Paul Stanley? Melissa's in
Are you
here
ready to
from
roll
Ohio.
What?
She never catches us live.
What's up, Melissa? Hey, everybody. Woohoo! It is Wednesday. What's on Wednesday?
Our all-day virtual Boss Up and List Day.
Yeah, Boss Up List Day. Our virtual listing party that goes on all day on Wednesdays. And today's Wednesday, so that's what's happening. So if you're not in our Boss Facebook group, every Wednesday morning, I put up a post and invite everybody to set their goals for the day. And it's just, I mean, obviously, like we're listing like pretty much every day, but Wednesday, it's just like a nice day to be like, let's just get as much as we can done in this one day. And so if you can join us, it's always really fun. And then at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is when we do like our live show. It's like, here's your chance to take a break or keep right on listing. I know some of you guys just keep listing right through the show.
It's kind of our businessy show.
Yeah.
Of the three.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess
we're a little more serious.
Oh, yes. We're very serious.
That's why Teresa said, don't be so excited.
I forgot to wear my tie. Face. Yeah, she's very, very, very serious. I am seriously not wearing pants today, as per usual. So, anyway, I'm Katie. This is Vikki, aka Victoria, aka LV Pink Panther, aka my fiance.
Still,
I don't have any AKAs.
You really don't.
No, I gotta say, my sister, her name is Jessica, but her nickname from before she was born, I think my grandpa started calling her Binky. So she always had the nickname Binky. And, you know, most people call her Jessica, but she goes by Binky a lot too. And on Facebook, she goes by Binky. I think she's Binky on YouTube as well.
Or the Binkster.
And so, or the Binkster. So I was always like super jealous that I didn't have a nickname. And like the closest thing I ever had to a nickname, like growing up, was some people called me Kate. That was about it. It was like, and that's not a nickname. That's just kind of like a shortening of your name. So.
Right, because Katie is not short for.
No, it's not short for anything.
No, Kathleen it's just, or anything. It's just it's
right.
Katie.
It is. That's what my name is on my birth certificate. So, Christy Harris, what? $2 super chat. What? She says, thanks for all you do for the community. Well, Christy, you are absolutely welcome. We love everything that we do. We're here to have a good time. We hope that while we're having fun and being silly, that we're also passing on a little education,
a little knowledge,
a little education. And also I would say that like we have three things going on. We're here to have fun. We're here to educate and learn from you guys too. And then the third thing I think is we're here to hopefully provide and foster a super positive community where we are bossing up, basically, taking care of business. But Christy, for that super chat, let's do a little super chat, j'ai super chat, yo. You guys, I think that Vikki might have super chat PTSD. She starts flinching, but like as I'm starting the song, she starts to flinch and like try to get away. And I'm like, what's up with that, man?
I think that's probably what it is. Katie is polypositive is a good nickname for her. Yeah, she's super polypositive.
I can say, here's the thing, guys. I promise you, I do stress about things sometimes. I do complain about things sometimes. I do have my own, you know, it's like I'm just as capable about ranting about things as anybody else. But I will say that my first response to most things is that I really try to see like, either I try to see the positive in it or
it's disgusting.
Or I try to see what the solutions are to deal with whatever the problem is. And that's just like and I don't know if like that's because I just want to avoid any bad things happening or if it really is like, I think overall it's a healthy attitude. Because I do try to like figure out how to fix the problem. But I also feel like
a fixer. That's true.
I also feel like I'd rather be hopeful. I'd rather hope. And I'm not saying like it's not blind hope. I'm not just hoping things are going to work out and then doing nothing.
No, you like to see the positive and you like to try and find the positive solution or the positive spin on things.
Right.
Which is not, it's not a bad trait. On the other hand, my nickname has been Chicken Little. for many, many years because I am like, oh my God, everything's wrong. The sky is falling. My car is making a weird noise. I might as well junk it. Like, you know, I can't turn my computer on. There's a program not working. Let me throw it out the window and buy a new one. Like, that's worst case scenario. That's me all the time. So that's always been my nickname. But like Vikki, Vikster, Tori. In high school, my nickname was Bubble Butt. That was,
I don't know.
I have a round butt.
I did play. Okay, guys, I did have one nickname. I did play rugby for Oregon State when I went to school at Oregon State back in the late 90s. I was on the women's rugby team. That
may surprise you.
And my nickname was Stinger. I'll leave it at that. It was just my nickname. I don't know. But anyway, I just called it, that's what they call me, Stinger. So I did have a nickname for a short while, but whatever. I don't even know, why did we start talking about nicknames? Oh, because I was saying the AKAs, whatever. But yeah, going back to the whole positive attitude thing, my whole philosophy is that I would rather spend the time being positive, and if things do go badly, deal with it at that time. But I feel like we spend a lot of time worrying about the worst things that could happen, and then they never play out.
The worst case scenario, the what ifs. I'm guilty of that.
And when they never play out, you've basically wasted all this time feeling miserable and worrying about it. Whereas you could have been feeling hopeful and then had things work out. Or even if things don't work out, even if worst case scenario does come true, at least you had that time being positive, working on a solution, trying to figure it out. And
I don't, unless worried, I don't know what that's like.
And a lot of times when the worst case scenario does play out, it's usually never as bad as what your worries were, if that makes sense. It's like, have you ever stressed about something and worried about something for like months or days or whatever, and then you finally are just like, I just got to deal with this. I just got to face the music. I'm gonna whatever it is, whether it's a difficult conversation or whatever. And then once you deal with it, you're like, oh, that wasn't as horrible, or it was pretty terrible, but now it's over and I feel a lot better about it.
Are you done?
No, I'm not. I have at least 13 more minutes to go on the subject.
Not like she gets on a rant or anything.
No, whatever. Anyway, so today's show, what are we doing on today's show?
We are talking about all the different listing tools and apps and third-party things that can help you with your business. Some are free, some are subscription-based, none of which we are endorsed by. Let's just clear that up right away, right? Like, we're not like sponsored or endorsed by any of these things.
I just have to say, once again, Allison, a Big Drip Thrift, has done a good job of throwing a wrench in things, and so I can't even. Big Drip. Allison says my nickname is Cougar, which I don't get. I'm not even a cat fan.
She's so fresh.
Allison, you're fresh. You're fresh. Let's just say Allison has a bit of a reputation. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Now I'm going to say more. She likes to date the younger ladies. Let's just say that. Yeah. Her partner Casey, a little bit younger. But you know what? This one, she likes the younger ones too.
Really? Like, you're the only person younger than me I've pretty much ever dated in my life.
Whatever. Anyway, guys, we're going to be talking about this. Okay, so it would be awesome if you went to sell on eBay or Etsy or whatever platform you're on, and they just provided you with all the tools that you needed to be able to do that and to be successful. But the reality is that's not going to happen. So there are a lot of like third-party sites and third-party apps that you guys probably use, that we use, to help you do a better job, to help you get better sales, maximize your profits. Is that like a good, those are some good
profits,
some good catchphrases.
Sure.
Hey, you gotta maximize your profits, make more money online, just sign up here. But anyway, you know, we don't use all the ones that we're going to talk about today. And this is definitely not an exhaustive list, because I'm sure there's like a bunch.
Oh, there are dozens and dozens more. We don't even have time to do as many as there are. We're also not going to get into how to use them, really. We're going to just give you a brief name, the website, their cost, if there is an associated cost, how it works. But we're not going to do like a display of how to use them, because it's just not possible to get that all done in one thing.
And sometimes we do that. Like I have a video on Sizely and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to me, this is more about we're just kind of starting a conversation, and we're throwing out some different types of sites and apps that you should be, looking into. And here's the thing: there might be like 10 different sites and apps for one process. Why are you laughing at me?
Just Allison.
Is it
Again.
Allison? Is
Stop
Allison?
it. I
Is
can't
Allison
look at
doing?
the chat.
Is she
I'm
doing
gonna
it
put her in
again?
a timeout.
Is she doing it again?
I'm gonna put her in a timeout.
Anyway, there might be 10 different sites or apps, free, paid, combination of the two, for the same function. But you're going to find that some of them you prefer over another. And then, you know, like she uses certain ones for comp research and then I use other ones. Mm-hmm. And it just depends on like what your preferences and how
what you like, what works for you, and also what you sell. So, I mean, that's really important too.
Yeah, totally. So after the show, I'm going to put a post up in the Boss Facebook group. So again, join the group if you're not in there, about this. And I'm going to share the ones that we talked about on there. And then I'm going to invite you guys to share, you know, links to any sites or apps that you guys use. And, you know, I'll ask you to like say if it's free or paid or whatever, and like
and
what
keep
it does.
It in the thread.
Yeah, and keeping it in that thread. And then so we'll be able to talk about it. And then later on, at some point in the future, we'll go ahead and put those all into a document or a file on the page so that people can, in the group, so people can go ahead and check those out. Mm-hmm. But anyway, she says she would love a timeout, so she really appreciates it. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Anywho, guys, you want to just go ahead and we're just gonna, again, not exhaustive, but we're just starting the conversation here. So what are we starting with? What we got?
Well, obviously, we're going to be talking about how the best ways to research comps. So comps are something that you're going to want to look at to determine where you want to price your item, whether it's something that it's even worth buying, depending on what the sales price is for resale, to see if there's enough room, you know, enough meat in the bone to make money. Mm-hmm. And also to see what the sell-through rate is. That's also rather important. Not everybody is looking for a long tail item. If you find something that's got, you know, you paid 50 cents and you can sell it for 10, but it's got a sell-through rate of 5%. Do you really want to sit on something for a crappy $10 for, you know, a year? You know, there's a lot of things that go into determining whether something is a good buy and if there's enough of a profit margin in there for you. So researching comps is something that's part of this business and learning what sells and why.
Well, I will say that because I am in a very specific niche with men's clothing and I'm pretty familiar with most of the stuff that I'm buying, I don't really use a lot of third-party stuff while I'm outsourcing. Like I tend to just, for the most part, I don't have to look up stuff, but there are occasions where I'm like, they're asking for $15 for this jacket or jersey or whatever. And I want to look and see if it sells. So usually I just go to eBay. I don't like the eBay app very much for that. I actually go to the desktop on my phone and I'll look at solds there just to get a quick idea, like, oh, this particular jersey sells all the time for $25. I'm not going to buy it. Or wow, it goes for $100. So
yeah, that's exactly what I do. I do the same thing.
But I will use this stuff once I'm home and I'm sitting in front of the computer. Red Neckerson's resales busting out the $1.21 super chat.
He says we keep getting him in trouble. People don't understand No Pants Friday when he goes to the mall. Keep your pants on in public.
Debatable. All right, let's bust out that super chat. Super chat. She's super chatty. Yeah,
it tickles. Cut it out.
There you go. There you go.
Frenchie in the house.
What up, Frenchie? Anyway, so once we're home and we're wanting to look at comps, I think you have the most experience with the first one we have on there.
Yeah, so Terapeak is one. It's Terapeak. It's terapeak.com. That's a desktop version. They do also have an app. The app is not quite as good as the desktop version. For whatever reason, it has not updated in the same way and doesn't have quite as many features, but it's adequate out in the field. Terapeak is $30 a month. If you go with the monthly subscription, you get a little bit of a discount if you pay for a year in advance. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I will say that I had Terapeak for well over 10 years. I just gave up my subscription. Terapeak has recently been acquired by eBay, maybe within the last year or so, I believe. eBay bought them out. They haven't integrated it into their platform yet. I don't know if they will at some point or not. But Terapeak is something that can go back as far as 2 years on solds, and it will give you your average sale price, what day of the week is the best day of the week that's sold on, what the sell-through percentage is, whether it should be auction or buy it now, what the average shipping cost is, all that type of stuff that makes it really important when you're looking at hard goods. So for me, that was the tool that I used the most. I used to always sell antiques and collectibles, and I used it for more than 10 years. Now, when I was grandfathered into a special price, probably just because of how long I had had the program. I was paying something like $15 a month. And at that price, I thought it was very much worth it. $30 a month, it depends on what you do. I didn't find myself using it enough to keep the subscription. Now, because I don't sell as many antiques and collectibles anymore, I really don't need more than eBay for to find a sold on something. Also, part of it is because I've been doing this so long that, like you, I look up very rarely. Am I going to look up items?
Right. I would predict with Terapeak that eventually it will be integrated more into eBay, and it might come as part of like a store package or something like that. That's what I'm guessing, as opposed to being like something separate that you have to have a subscription to. But one heck of a thrifter, and see what up, Super Chat, $2. I don't know. I've already done the Super Chat song twice.
I don't know. It's up to you.
I can do Super Chat, Superstar. Who are you? What are you? Something, something. You know, like,
I don't even know what that is.
It's my Jesus Christ Superstar.
You better listen to the soundtrack again.
Rude. One heck of a thrifter. Thank you so much. You always lay down the super chats, so we appreciate you for sure. And I enjoy following you on Instagram, by the way. Anyway, so speaking of, so I see people talking about WorthPoint in the chat. Yeah, so WorthPoint is one that it's another one that's good for looking up comps and stuff like that. The thing about WorthPoint, now it is paid. I use WorthPoint every day, but I do want to say that it depends on what kind of income level you're at. I would say it's not a third-party site that is like absolutely like you have to get this. Don't be spending money that you don't have. You want to be careful about signing up for too many things that you're spending monthly subscription fees on. It really does add up. For me, though, I will say I use WorthPoint every day. The cost for their they have a couple of different features. The one that I use is the one for looking up sold prices, and that one's, I believe, is $19.99 a month. And I do use it every day. If you sell everyday bread and butter, basic brands, I don't think it's worth it. If you sell antiques, collectibles, or like with me, I sell a lot of vintage stuff where I find items that are more unique and definitely will not have been sold or listed in the last 90 days. WorthPoint does go back like 10 years.
It's definitely good for that rare antique collectible odd item. So you can find out more information about it. Not as much for the pricing, in my opinion, because honestly, what something sold for 8 years ago is irrelevant in today's market. But to find out more information about the details of the item is important. And WorthPoint does have photos. Emily brings up a good point there. WorthPoint does have photos, and their photos do stay archived for many years. It's hard to
find. It helps a lot. Like for me, it's like,
Terapeak has photos as well. Emily said it didn't have photos last time she looked at. Terapeak does have photos as well on everything. But a lot of times on the old listings, once you click on the listing that's, say, like a year or so old, it may only have the thumbnail photo left, because when you click on the listing, the photos might be gone because whoever had that listing may not have their photos hosted anymore. So
Emily says WorthPoint to me isn't good for clothing. I think that I don't think it's actually pulling everything over the last day. I feel like there's a lot of times there's information missing. But I will say, like for instance, one way it helps for me is I had a T-shirt of a wrestler that I had bought like a few weeks back. And I searched both on eBay and then I searched on WorthPoint, and it helped. And I always sort my stuff on WorthPoint from highest to lowest. And it helps for me to be like, okay, this guy has a fan base that is willing to spend some real money on T-shirts by him. And so I saw that like there had been a few that had been sold for over $100 over the past few years. And I'm like, okay, so he definitely has a following. He's not just some low level whatever. He was somebody I hadn't heard of. And so even though eBay on the solds and stuff listed, nothing was really that highly priced, I went ahead and priced it $99.99. The day that I listed it, I got like 3 different offers. And then by the end of the day, somebody bought it for full price at $100.
Yeah.
So it does give some depth to my research. But again, $20 a month, you just got to decide if it's worth it to you.
Yeah, it's excellent to use for keywords. Both Terapeak and WorthPoint are excellent for keywords. That's the one thing that I used Terapeak for primarily, was for keywords and for helping to price those hard to find items. Again, neither one of those I think are phenomenal. If you're just a clothing or shoe seller, I think your eBay solds are sufficient. But vintage items or hard to find items, streetwear items necessary, you know, that type of thing, they might be worth it for you.
Yeah. I don't think shipping is included, but I mean, it's really more about figuring out value. So Alice is saying they also have Barks, autographs, patterns, and symbols. They do. That is an additional cost. So they have two different services. One is just looking at pricing and solds and stuff like that. And then the other one is more about like the marks, that part of it. And you can, I think you can get one or the other, or you can get them both together, and both together it's like $40. So I would think that one would be really, it could be helpful for somebody who gets like a lot of really super rare collectible stuff. I don't see a use for it myself. But yeah, so, okay, let's move on. So we actually can cover all this stuff.
And hey, Thrifty Santa's in the house.
Okay. So there are a couple of, apps that have come up. When I was at eBay Open, somebody showed me, I don't remember who it was, but somebody showed me, they're like, hey, check out this app. And it was called Completely. And they showed me it. And it was this really cool app where you could enter in search terms like vintage Tommy Hilfiger jacket. And it would tell you like all the ones that have sold over the last however period of time, and give you like average sale price, average listing price, average sell or the sell-through rate, all this stuff. It was really cool. And I'm like, awesome, I want to check that out. And then I realized it was only for iPhone. I have Android. Don't try to talk me into getting an iPhone. It's not going to happen. And so I was kind of bummed.
Same here.
But it turns out there's another app that's similar called What's It Worth on eBay. And that one is available on Android and iPhone. And it does a similar thing. So you guys can check them out. That one is free. I will say the Completely app is $3.99 for but it's a one-time thing. It does have really good reviews. So a lot of people seem to think it's super helpful. I think you can also look specifically at certain sellers, so you can see the stuff that they're selling and their pricing and all that kind of stuff.
You used to be able to do that on Terapeak. Terapeak disabled that feature last year when eBay took them over.
Yeah, now it's pretty cool. Now, both of those are apps. And I will say, like I was saying before, I don't do a lot of my research out in the field, just because, again, I know generally most of my stuff pretty well, like whether or not it's worth buying, and I don't really need to do that much research. So personally, I was like, I wish that these services were like on the desktop so I could actually just do it, because to me, it's easier to be like typing it in. And so now there's actually a site called The Solds. So it's www.thesolds.com. And that is a free site, and it does a very similar thing. Now, it just, Joshua Newell, he's the guy who created Fit Shipper. He also created Flipper Tools. So he's an eBay seller. He's pretty much apparently one of those guys. It's like anytime he wants to be able to do something or know something, he's like, oh, let's create
figure out his own app.
Right. So thesolds.com, it's pretty cool. You should go check it out. It's super basic. Because like I said, I think he just started doing, he's still in the process of developing it, but you can go in, you can do a search, and it'll tell you average sale price, listing price, sell-through rate. It's really cool. Just cool information that you can get. And let's see, what do we else? Do you want to talk about that? I mean, I know we don't really know anything about it, but I don't know if you looked at it.
I didn't look at it.
Okay.
I told you to look at it.
So this is one that we just found out about today. I don't really know anything about it. Kathy Terrell just recently did a blog post about it, and she shared it in the Boss group. It's called Shelf Trend. Now I briefly looked at it. This is a desktop thing. It's been developed by a couple of past eBay employees. I don't think they work for eBay. I'm assuming they don't work for eBay anymore, but they worked for eBay for a long time. So this is an eBay tool, and there is a free version that where you get like limited stuff, and then you can also upgrade it to $14.99 a month. And it looks like it gives pretty in-depth information about sell-through rates and pricing and
see.
All
I think
that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna check this one out. $14.99 a month for a paid service, I think, is very reasonable.
Yeah, and I think again with this one you can follow sellers, and it tells you trends, and it shows you like areas that I think from what I saw, it shows you areas that are lacking on eBay, like certain categories where it's like there is a demand, but there's definitely room for people to be making money.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Another thing that we didn't mention here, but is being mentioned in the chat, is Sellhound. They were a bunch of people that created an app as well. I believe it's in trial and they're still working through some beta programming on it. So that is free for now. It is going to be, there's going to be a cost associated with it at some point. I have not looked into it too much, but they were at eBay Open.
Yeah.
So that's another one people might want to check out. Sellhound.
Yeah. And I think Casey, Rockstar Flipper, I believe he just did like an interview with her and did a video.
And I think Wade did actually
probably,
too.
Yeah. So you can just go like search it on YouTube. You can probably find more information about it. I saw a little brief snippet. She showed me a little bit at eBay Open of what it was capable of, and it was definitely very interesting, and it goes across multiple platforms. Like I know one of the things she showed me, because a lot of these are like eBay focused. One of the things she showed me was like you search something and then like on the same screen, it shows like 5 different platforms or 6 different platforms. And it shows you like average sale price on eBay, on Etsy, on Poshmark. And I thought that was actually super cool if you are doing a lot of listing across different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay. So other than that, for researching comps, I will say one other thing, and I just mentioned it, that Joshua Newell developed. Flipper Tools. This is at www.flippertools.com. This is a really good place for you to see what stuff's sold for. So like if you're looking at eBay and you're looking at sold prices, anytime somebody accepts a best offer that's lower than what the original price was, you are not going to be able to see that price on the eBay website. You actually have to go look somewhere else. And so this is a site where you can do that for free. You can just enter in, I believe you just enter in like the item number or like the URL of that listing, and it'll tell you how much it sold for at best offer, because this is super important if you're trying to sell something and you see something was listed for $149.99 and it says it was sold, but you can't tell that they actually took an offer for $50.
Right. Sometimes you can tell they took an offer, but you can't tell what it was.
Well, yeah, you can tell they took an offer, but it doesn't tell you what the price is. And so that's a free way that you can go and check that out. So it's pretty cool.
And Thrifty Santa, we're going to get to Datamiine. That's a little further down the list.
Yeah. And Josh was actually a member in the boss group. So if you ever have any questions about any of his tools, like he's super responsive and happy to help out. Yeah, Barbara, you can find Etsy sold prices there too, but I just found that I was able to see the sold price on the actual Etsy website when I looked at my sold. So that was kind of cool.
Might have been just because it was yours though.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe so. Anyway, so next thing is what?
Listing tools, things that you're using to help you when you're listing. The one that we do always talk about because they do sponsor us. They're our one and only sponsor. They sponsor the show. It's Sizely. We've talked about them a few times. It's SIZE.ly.
Mm-hmm.
We have a referral code listed down below if you would like to check it out, or if you do sign up for it. It does help if you go through our referral code. So we do appreciate that. We do get a couple of dollars from that.
And they are our sponsor, but guys, if you know me, if you've been following me for a while, I've been using them for probably over about 2 years now. So ever since I got into clothing and I found them back when they were a free site, I was using them religiously for every single clothing listing, and I still do. And I personally think before we ever got them as a sponsor, that is well worth the cost.
That's why she actually reached out to them to sponsor us, because she believed in the product so much and had been using it for so long. And I actually have been using them for the past several months now too, and I love it. And I can't imagine going back to not using it. And I've always been one that has handwritten all of my measurements into my listings. And if you take a look how Sizely works, they actually even have, I think, Katie's demonstration video on their website. It's only $7 a month. There is a free version with some limited templates. And then if you wanted to subscribe, it's $7 a month.
Yeah, that's for the pro level. I think there's a $5 one, but that's one's somewhat limited. The pro one, it's such a small jump in price that I would just say just get the pro, because it's like over 100 templates. And it's like if you sell 95% hard goods and you barely ever list clothing, like I'd say like you don't need to add another
maybe use the free one. Yeah. But if you list a lot of clothing, I think it's great. It looks really professional in the listing. So I like it a lot.
And it's going to help with returns. Like if you're doing, even if you do buyer paid returns or you do free returns, like the more, I cannot believe how many sellers, not only, I mean, it's fine, you don't use the Sizely app, whatever, but you don't even include the measurements in the description. Like it happens all the time. Like have you ever had, like I'll have a jacket where the size tag is missing, or it's like worn out and so it's just white, you can't see what size it is. what I'll do is I'll go look at other people's listings, like in that brand. Let's say it's a members only jacket. I'll go look at members only jackets, and then I'll guess what I think the size of mine is, and I'll go look at other people's listings to see what their measurements are. And sometimes I'll have to go to 3, 4, 5 different listings before I'll find one with that. And I'm like, what is the deal? Like even within the same brand, measurements are different. Like you got to put your measurements in there, and if you want to like avoid more returns. So anyway, guys, let's see what we got next.
So photo tools.
So photo tools. Okay, so my whole thing is I very, very firmly believe that you're much better off having your setup like super dialed in for photos to where you're not having to edit any photos after. And I think you feel the same way. It's
I do. You are much better at it than I am, I have to say. And I think part of it has to do with you are more willing to play with the features on your phone for taking photos, where I'm just, you know, techno illiterate. So even that type of stuff is a little difficult for me. So I do like to have a good photo setup, and my photos are generally pretty good. My photos for hard goods and clothing, that it's long things that I have difficulty with, like dresses and stuff like that, which is why Dana has forbidden me for taking my own photos of dresses, because they're so bad. I mean, they're passable, but they're bad.
Yeah.
So, you know, I try to, you know, use my phone or my camera that I have set on square settings. So I don't need to edit anything for size. I don't need to edit anything for color. I don't try to white out the background so that my stuff pops and it's just the one thing. And I know a lot of people do that and those photos look fantastic. But for me, with the volume of items that I'm trying to list by myself, I want to just take a picture, have it ready to upload into my listing, and that's it. I don't want to deal with it.
And generally with the way I do mine, with the settings and stuff, my white looks pretty good. I mean, there could be some improvement, but not enough that I would want to spend the time doing that. But with that said, there are lots of apps that people use. The one that we've been hearing really good things about that we do have listed here is Snapseed. And that's the one we did a store review a couple weeks ago.
Sarah
was
Carmel was in
and so this is one that she had recommended, and we've heard a lot of really positive things about it. It is on Android and on iPhone as an app.
It's a free app.
It's a free app. I don't know how quick it is or whatever, but hey, that's awesome. The other thing I'll say for photo tools, a lot of times, a lot of you guys maybe are using like actual cameras, and then you're having to go and like download them onto your computer. I will say Dropbox is a really great tool. I think there's paid versions of it, but I also think there's free versions, and that's really great for if you want
I have
to.
a free version of Dropbox. I've had it forever.
Yeah, and I think you can set it up so it actually syncs with your phone.
Depends on the phone.
Yeah,
but yes,
you
can.
And that's really good for if you are working with, like, let's say a virtual assistant or somebody else and you need to share photos. Also, there's Google Photos. Like, I use Google Photos because I'm a Google person. And so I have it so my phone always syncs with Google Photos. So I go take my pictures, and then they're already, I sit down at my desk and they're all synced up on my Google Photos. I do pay $1.99 a month because of how much storage space I am using, but you don't necessarily need to do that. It takes a while.
I haven't hit there yet.
Yeah, it'll take a while. But for me,
and I can go in and delete too.
You can definitely go and delete. And I've gotten her on, because she used to mostly only use an actual camera, and now she's using her phone more for the pictures that she takes herself. So she's learning and getting to where she can
learning new stuff, guys.
She's learning new stuff. She's not so much a techie person, so she's learning how to use the Google Photos as well. So I think it's really helpful. All right. Sorry if this seems like we're just like putting a bunch of,
if nothing else, just take notes. Just take some notes and write down some stuff. And that's what I would suggest. And then you can go in individually and do your own research and check and see what the features are for each thing, and see if it's something that you find beneficial or see what works for you. And you can weigh some pros and cons between the free options and the options that have subscriptions, and see if it's something you need.
You are running a business, so if it makes sense, like, you need to not be scared to spend a little bit of money. It's like when I tell people that they should be getting a good lighting kit or a decent lighting kit, which they cost like $50-$60 for like just a basic starter one. It's like, don't be scared to spend a little money, but you also have to think about, like, okay, is this worth the money? Are there ways I could do this for free? And you just need to decide that for yourself. But you should be thinking about this no matter what. If all you're doing is taking pictures and going and listing on eBay or on Etsy or whatever, you're selling yourself short. You should be doing a little bit more to make sure that you're getting the best.
Right.
Prices.
And Emily and Lori just mentioned, Lori said she's slow at listing. She fiddles with the photos too much and too wordy. Honestly, Lori, like Emily says, you know, I put up a lot of volume of listings. Don't get me wrong. I do try to take the best photos possible. I do try to make the best listings possible, but I don't stress about it. If you're spending more than 5 to 10 minutes researching an item that is obscure, then that's too much.
Yeah.
If you are spending more than a minute researching something that is a bread and butter day-to-day item, that's too much. Just get the listing up and get it done. It's not going to sell if it's not listed. Your photos do not need to be department store website worthy. They just have to be clean and clear and show the correct color and any defects. Do the best you can with what you have. And a lot of these little tools, whether they're free or not, are going to help you get there. You don't worry about it. That's what I keep trying to tell people. As long as your photos are not thrown on the ground or hung on the back of just a plain closet door in the dark, you're going to be fine. Yes, there are people that make these beautiful photos and, you know, on models or on these fantastic mannequins and great lighting and backdrop and, you know, collages and the pretty photos people use for Poshmark and everything. I get it. I totally do. I think it's adorable. It's not for me. I'm just trying to list as much as I can to get it sold. And it's never, ever affected my sales or my prices by not having the prettiest photos.
Yeah. Sweet P530 just tested the What's It Worth app and says, awesome. Very cool. Oh, I wanted to mention really quick the Solds website that Joshua developed. One of the cool things I was looking at this morning, and I actually searched vintage Tommy Hilfiger jackets. And one of the cool things that I noticed is it had the percentage of listings that were sold that had free shipping. And then it had the percentage that were sold with free shipping. I think basically it was like the number listed was like, I think 30% of them that were listed had free shipping. But then the percentage that sold with free shipping was higher, if that makes sense. So basically what that tells me is that free shipping, you're more likely to sell it than it like gives you a step up as far as the sell-through rate, which I thought was pretty cool. Anyway, all right, let's move on to shipping labels. We talk about this a lot. But
we do talk about shipping labels a lot. There's a couple questions in here, so just going to go over some of the questions. What about the Prop 65 crap? As someone else said a little bit further down, it only applies to you if you have 50 or more employees.
Wait, I thought it was 10.
Oh, 10. I'm sorry.
They said 50, but as far as I know, it's 10 employees or more. So I'm guessing that if you are, if you're working
a 1 to 2 person,
if you have 10 employees, I'm gonna guess you're probably not watching us because you're probably too busy working. But who knows? Anyway, so don't worry about it, guys. Anyway, so let's go on to shipping. I know we talk about this a lot, but seriously, there's so many different sites and options out there that we're just trying to help people kind of dial in, like, what is the best way to do it?
What are the best ones? And I will find myself going to 2 or 3 sometimes, you know, to get my shipping done. I shipped out, you know, 10 items today, and I was able to do them all through eBay shipping.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Those are my best options. I didn't have anything that was going to go cubic, and I didn't have any international items. So for me, eBay was my cheapest.
Anytime I'm sending anything first class, or if it fits in a padded flat rate mailer, those ones are the ones that I send through eBay, which actually is probably the biggest percentage of my stuff.
Majority
are those 2 things for me with what I sell. But there are times where I have to step out and I got to use a different website. So of course, the first one that we have on here,
we do talk about this a lot, but it's Pirate Ship. Pirate Ship is a free website. It's just pirateship.com. You sign up and you can attach it to your PayPal account, or you can attach it to a credit card. I personally have mine attached to my PayPal debit card, so I get my 1% cash back. Some people will attach it to other cards to get you know, your cash back or your points or something like that. I think that's a great tool. It does import your listings from eBay, and it also adds your shipping and tracking information onto eBay when you use the import tool. So you don't have to copy and paste and put all that stuff in there.
Yeah, it's super easy. And so like they do like cubic priority, which as we've said before, eBay does not do. And then the number one reason why I use it is because of their new program they have called the simple export rate. We did a video a couple weeks ago about it. I keep bringing this up because I keep seeing people talking about using other sites. or getting it through eBay. And I'm like, listen,
there are
this is
no
new.
sites.
This is new. There is no, I mean, somebody please prove me wrong. There is no other site, eBay included, stamps.com, any other thing that is sending first-class international packages for cheaper. It is significantly cheaper than any other shipping site.
I saved $14 on one package yesterday.
Yeah,
I had a 3.5 pound package going to Canada that my buyer paid $35 whatever shipping for, which was calculated shipping, and it cost me $16 to ship.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, if you are doing your own international shipping and you're not using pirate ship, I hope it's just because you haven't heard of them, because seriously, like there's zero reason for you to be using
Right. It's not going any slower. It's nothing like that. It's just once you get onto pirate ship, you send them a quick email, or you can use the chat feature and ask them to be put into the simple export rate program.
Yeah.
It's an international program. Simple. It's not going to show up there automatically. You have to ask to be put into the program.
Yeah.
And it takes them moments. They're
April,
very responsive.
it's free. April, free. Yeah, April wants to know if there's a fee for it. No, it is absolutely free. And I'm telling you, I'm going to keep saying this. I don't want you guys
to get nothing out of this. We don't know who these people are. We have chatted with them in chat to make sure it was okay for us to talk about this in as much as we have. But we're getting nothing out of this. We're trying to share with you a way to save money.
Yeah. I asked them if they had a referral program or an affiliate program. They said no. I cried for a little bit, and I said, you know what? I'm still going to keep bugging people about this, because seriously, guys, it saves you so much money. I hate seeing people throw money away. So make sure you're doing that. But again, that's for all first-class international packages. Up to 4 pounds is where you get that huge savings. So definitely check it out.
Quick question. Maui Delights asked, what shipping options do you offer for clothing items that weigh 1 to 2 pounds? I do free shipping for all of my clothing. So
most of them, if it's between 1 and 2 pounds, I can pretty much guarantee you that it's going to be able to fit in one of these padded flat rate mailers. And so I do free priority, and these cost through eBay. These cost $6.90 to ship. The other option is I will include an upgrade to Express, because it's exact same envelope, same size, just that it's blue, and it costs more. It costs like around $23. I think I charge $22.95 for people to upgrade to that. But you can put, you would be amazed at what you can fit in one of these.
Yeah, and I think it's who's asking here. Was it Emily that asked about? Let me scroll back up a couple.
Okay.
Emily asked, Brenda Brandt asked, can you talk about shipping jeans in the envelope? What can we use the envelope for? You can use that padded, I'm assuming you mean the padded flat rate.
Oh yeah, jeans.
You can use that for anything. I use that for jeans. I use it for jackets. I use it for sweaters, sweatshirts, anything that will fit in it. I will squish into a ball and get in there. Basically just roll jeans or roll a jacket, roll whatever.
It's all about the rolling, guys. You don't. I mean, when you say squish, it sounds like you're wadding it up.
That's true. No, yeah.
It's a very, it's definitely a roll that you got to do. You don't want it to be all wrinkly.
Yeah, Brenda, you can use them for absolutely anything. Anything that will fit in that, you can use. You can use it for. So it's anything priority up to 70 pounds, 70, that can fit into that envelope. You don't want to put breakable stuff in it, but yeah, I put just about anything in there.
Big Drift, Allison, I'm not sure what so you said when it comes time to pirate ship on eBay, how do you pick which shipping method? The way it works with pirate ship, if you go, so it syncs up to your eBay account. And so you'll see it on pirate ship, the page, you'll see the item and you'll say get rates. And then it'll ask you for certain information. So
like your dimensions and your
weight. Your dimensions.
It automatically comes up with the cheapest option.
So for domestic stuff, it'll tell you like if the cubic option is the cheapest.
And no, it does not. It is ghost postage. It does not show what the postage paid is on the envelope. Yeah. Not for international or for domestic.
No. Okay, so moving on. So again, use Fit Shipper, especially for international, or not Fit Shipper, sorry, Pirate Ship. So the next one is Fit Shipper. Now Fit Shipper is one, I do use them for my cubic shipping. I will say it does cost $5 a month. I still, as much as I love Pirate Ship for the international stuff, I still do prefer Fit Shipper over Pirate Ship when it comes to cubic. But again, it does cost $5
a little bit more user friendly for the amount of money.
But I do use it like almost daily as far as cubic rates go. And so I like the interface. I like the way it works with eBay. So for me, like I do prefer it. I get that it costs money, but it's a way you can do cubic. They do international as well, but the rates are not going to be as good because there's, again, nobody has the lowest rates like Pirate Ship does.
Although he says he's working on it.
Yeah,
so
he does say
Fit Shipper
we'll
may
see.
get that program. We'll see.
We'll see.
We will let you know, I promise.
If he gets that program, I'm going to be all over that. So, all right. So the next one is stamps, which I don't know. You used to use stamps.
I use stamps occasionally. I will only use it actually for that particular item that you're about to talk about.
Yeah, so I don't know as much about this. This is more like I keep telling Teresa. Teresa's got her YouTube channel. She's working on building that up. And she's got her Size Me Up tool. So I've been telling her that she needs to make a video specifically talking about this. But stamps.com, that is the one place where you can send first-class international flats.
Yes.
So this technically flats are only for documents. They just changed the rules a little bit.
They changed it in January.
A few months ago. Yeah, earlier this year. Where basically on any other site, if you try to send, let's say, a T-shirt as a flat, you will get in trouble for that. You can't do it. It has to be only documents. But I don't know exactly all the details. It has something to do with unions and whatever. Anyway, for some reason, stamps.com is still able to do it. It's a special program. Stamps is free if you're an eBay seller. There's a way that you have to go to get a free account, which I don't really know how it works. But once you're in it, you have to specifically ask to be added. It's kind of like the simple export rate where you have to specifically ask to join this program. And what it does is you actually send your package to somewhere in California and then they forward it to the country it goes to. But if you're sending, let's say, a T-shirt in like a padded little mailer that keeps it nice and flat, it can go for cheaper than just regular first class international. What are you sending people? Links to pirate ship. Anyway, so let me see that tool really quick. So this is the tool that Teresa had developed hold on, let me get I can't see what I'm doing right now. This is a tool that Teresa had developed to help people to know if something qualified for that rate. Again, this is kind of a next level shipping tip for people that send a lot of smaller flat items to international destinations. So
like a CD or a small T-shirt or something in a small like 4x6 bubble mailer that's relatively flat.
Mm-hmm.
You can
it needs to have a uniform flatness across the whole package.
And it needs to be like this is the size. It can't be any thicker than this. That's why she has this tool. Anyway, we need to have Teresa on to talk about this tool or to do a little YouTube video.
To make a video on her channel.
Just link to the video
because this is important.
I didn't even know she had a channel.
She does. This is important information that people can use, but it's definitely next level. It's for very specific items, but you can save quite a bit of money, especially let's say you sell a lot of CDs and you have a big international buyer base. It's definitely going to help you.
Let's see. Alana asked a question in here. Do you fill in every drop down when listing? Yes. You're going to get dialed in and be higher in the search results when you fill in as much of your item description or drop down as possible. And how do you keep up with how often eBay changes the drop downs to change to the ship policy, relist on phone, no ship options? Well, the whole
phone thing, we don't use our apps for that, so we can't help you at all. I know that there are issues.
I don't list using my phone. I don't relist using my phone. All I use my phone for is to do accept offers and answer questions, and when I'm not home.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the other question here is as far as changing the ship policy is if you create business policies within your store, you're automatically going to have all the correct shipping options according to how you set them.
Yeah. So if you want to be able to use stamps.com to get flats, it's not a flat rate like padded flat rate envelope. It's flats as in literally flat. The program on Stamps is called Freight Forward International. So either join Stamps or if you're already in Stamps, you need to contact them and say you want to be included in the Freight Forward International program. And it's a little bit weird. Like if you're let's say you're sending a CD to Germany, you're actually going to print out a label that's going to send it to somewhere like in California, I think. But it'll also have that, they'll also give you that international tracking number. So like I said, it's a little bit more complicated, but Teresa's going to make a video about it. I promise you. I'm promising you for her right now. She said she'll do it soon, really. Hey, Leoman's got the $5 super chat.
Always toward the end. He pops in at the end.
He's got his own super chat song, which here's a super chat. Here's a super chat. Woo woo. Here's a super chat. Here's a super chat. Woo woo woo. Here's a super chat. Here's a super chat. Woo woo woo.
Oh, that
was a little bit different. It's a little bit different. But hey,
I don't get hit with that one or like jiggled or whatever the heck it is she does. So
yeah,
I like that one.
Pretty much. All right. So next we're gonna go to listing/inventory management tools. So these ones are a little bit more complex third-party sites that we may not be able to completely cover like what it is they can do. Let's start with InkFrog. You have used InkFrog, right?
No,
you haven't.
Mm-mm.
All right.
I used to use Seller Sourcebook, which is very similar to InkFrog. So we could talk about either one of those. So
but you probably know more about InkFrog.
Yeah, I've seen InkFrog.
Tell it what's the deal with InkFrog?
InkFrog and Seller Sourcebook are two monthly, yearly, or quarterly based subscription-based services. They're very similar in price. They're desktop versions. Seller Sourcebook is $8 a month or $24.
It's like a range.
Yeah, depending on how big of storage you're using. So their basic is $8 a month. InkFrog's basic is $9 a month. It goes all the way up to $24 a month. And Emily says she uses InkFrog if you want to ask questions on the Boss Facebook page, which is excellent. Like we said, we're going to create a thread so you can get more in depth with the questions.
Mm-hmm.
InkFrog is it's a third-party listing tool. So you can create your listing, you can create templates, your listings stay there forever. It hosts your photographs. Different membership levels have up to unlimited hosting for your photographs. So like if what had happened, Glitchapalooza, when everybody lost photos on eBay, those that had InkFrog had a backup because all of their listings with their photos are still there.
Or people who like to do a lot of drafts. I don't do drafts, but there are a lot of people who do drafts, and then they'll be like, oh my God, I went and looked and all my drafts have disappeared.
Right. You can have as many drafts as you'd like. You can save certain drafts and templates depending on the type of items that you list. Your listings will stay there, almost forever until you delete them or until you redraft over them. It's a pretty useful tool also for those that use a virtual assistant or use an assistant that they don't want to give access to all of their eBay information. So you can create a logon for someone to log on from a third party to log on elsewhere that can go in and create drafts or create listings. And they're held there for you to go in and review and make live. A lot of people use that when they have an employee.
Yeah, pretty cool. So the other one that we're going to talk about is Datamiine. We did a whole video maybe just before open, so that would have been mid-July. And we had Brooks Bolin on. He's the one who has created this. He is an eBay seller, and he sells a lot of like computer stuffs.
Computer software.
Yeah, so he has like a huge hardware and stuff. So he has a really large inventory, and he also, because of the type of stuff that he sells, he has a lot of repeat customers. And so there were just a lot of tools that he needed to better run his business that he wasn't getting from eBay. And so he decided to develop this himself. He partnered up with a software developer, and
Luchan, who is fantastic.
Awesome. Ridiculous. And
I've never met somebody who will take every suggestion thrown at him and they will create it and make the program work for that suggestion within like a day or two.
Right.
I don't even understand how that works.
Yeah. So Brooks realized that like what they were developing would be really helpful to other sellers as well. So they are working on developing it. It's in beta right now. I know the beta group has like over 100 people in it right now. So it's free currently. It will be monetized at some point, but seriously, like what the tool is, and it's hard to even describe. Like their whole tagline is it's like a virtual assistant for eBay sellers. So yes, there's actual virtual assistants, but in this case, it's like there's so many things that can be automated. So for instance, one of the things that they recently developed is the ability to automatically delist listings and relist them.
Similar.
Right. So currently, like if you do good till canceled, yes, it continues to like roll over each month, but it keeps the same item number, right? Or if you do 30-day listings, you have to go ahead and relist them every month to like start over.
And once you get to the 90-day point or older, that tends to be when your listing is considered a stale listing and it's being suppressed in search on eBay, which means if you have things that are older than 90 days, not to say that they're not still going to sell, but the likelihood goes down.
Yeah. So with Datamiine, you can set up a rule where you can decide like, okay, I want these things to be listed good till canceled, but every, like you would say like every 88 days, because you would want to do it before the 90 days mark, because you don't want it to automatically take up, you know, because it costs you, every listing costs you, whether it's your listing allotment for your store or whatever. So you could make a rule where it's like every 88 days, I want it to automatically be delisted and then relisted as sell similar. So it's basically automating it all for you, so you don't have to worry about it, unless you want to go in and make changes to pricing and stuff like that.
That's just one.
But that's one
features.
feature. It also does stuff where you can look at how many items, the percentage of your listings that are a certain number of days old. You can look at
it's the accounting methods in there are fantastic. If you're using accounting software or you need accounting software, it pulls all of your data from PayPal, from eBay. It also, I think they're working on other platforms as well, not just eBay, but you can put in your cost of goods for each item, and it's going to give you a detailed profit of each item, line by line by line, after shipping, after actual shipping, after it's fantastic. It's actually far more detailed than I know how to use. I am absolutely overwhelmed by as much information as there is in there, but they also have excellent little online virtual classes that they're teaching you every time something new rolls out. They're so super responsive to questions.
Like they have a mileage tracker, as Dorothy's point. Like there's so many features. It's basically like kind of like a back office for eBay.
Yeah.
So where you can have
everything
it do just about
that you
everything.
could possibly use. Like, and it for me, I think it's fantastic. I think it's going to eliminate more than one other program that I currently use. Once I figure out how to use this one to the best of my ability, I'm definitely going to be using it more.
Well, and it's still in the development phases because it's in beta, and it's crazy, you guys. Like in the Facebook group, it'll literally be like, Teresa would be like, hey, is there any way that you could do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And then Wu-Chan will be like, oh, if you're not in too much of a hurry, I can have that done by Friday.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like I can have that if you're not needing it like today, like as if like he could go ahead and just do it today too if he like dedicated his time to it. He's like, if you can wait, I'll have it for you by Friday. Like in other words, 3 days from now.
I have to assume that he is an absolute genius.
He's very, very smart software developer.
It is an online program. It is not an app as of yet. It's called Datamiine, Datamiine.
Yeah, I'm going to make that post in the Boss Facebook group. That's where we're going to be sharing like all these different things. And I will once I put Datamiine in there, Brooks can let people know. I don't know if he's still letting people into his beta program right now.
They also have a Facebook group, but I believe it's a closed Facebook group.
Well, it's for the beta users.
That are in the beta users.
Yeah.
Does it go back? It does not, Emily. It is from the date of you signing up. It does not. It's not retro.
Moving forward.
It's moving forward.
Yeah, but the possibilities really are kind of endless, and so it's just been really cool to see like how much the beta people have been contributing to how it develops, and so it's been really exciting to see because once companies get bigger, it's like any change takes forever. There's a million other things that they need to focus on.
I know that I've not even touched the surface of the item of what it can do for you, but it is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I'm excited to look a little bit more into it, especially starting with the first of the year. I like that I'm in it now, but it's almost a little too late for me for this year to get really into it as far as the accounting portion of it. But for next year, I'm super excited.
Teresa does say that it's closed for beta right now, but seriously, be on the lookout for this because it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's move on. I do want to say, let's see, the next one I wanted to talk about is tracking stuff. So if you only sell domestically, you don't really, you've got the USPS website, it tracks, it's connected to, it's synced up with eBay. You don't have to worry about it. It pretty much serves all, that's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sell internationally and you do your own international shipping, I can tell you from experience, as well as Vikki, it sometimes leaves a little to be desired. Sometimes it will show the tracking all the way through to delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes, like, somebody will say, let's say somebody says they haven't received their item. What has happened to you when you've gone to look at the USPS thing?
Oh, it says that it's like left, international, then, it just dies.
It just drops off.
US
the tracking
border.
just drops off. So there's a couple of different things that you can do. One site that I've talked about is called 17track.net. And what 17track.net does is it actually, it draws from multiple tracking websites all over the world. So it draws like from, let's say, the UK, postal service, just different ones, and it draws them all together. And so when you put your tracking number in, it'll not only have the information from the US, but then it'll go to the destination country and it'll show more steps. So there have been times when I have that has happened to me, and all I've done is plug it into 17track.net. Bam, it shows delivered. And then you can use that. You can send that to, give that to eBay, and they will take that as proof of delivery.
Yeah.
So that's really good. I brought this up because I got this message today on Instagram from F Baby the Beach, who is Debbie. And she said, "Hey, Katie, I had a Mexico buyer file an item not received case for a $220 jacket this morning." So $220. They said they hadn't received it yet, but she had just watched my international shipping video, and apparently, this is one I think from a while ago, but I guess I mentioned 17track.net in that video, and she looked it up, and bam, showed that it had been delivered a month ago, over a month ago. So she went ahead, called eBay. They immediately closed the case in her favor, and so based on USPS tracking, it wasn't showing delivered. 17track.net showed delivered. Bam, $220 back in her bank account, and so saved her that money.
That's awesome.
I will say, sometimes even that's not enough. And this is where, international shipping, we keep saying it's super easy, do it yourself, you'll make more money. And that's absolutely true. But there are times where you're going to have to take it a step further. So I will say, don't give up. 2 times in the last 2 weeks, it's really weird, but 2 times in the last 2 weeks, I had issues with packages both going to the Netherlands. And I actually had to go to their website and run the tracking number through theirs, because tracking.net, USPS didn't show anything. And when I finally got to their actual post office website, I saw the information where it gave the address where it had been delivered, where they had to go pick it up and pay their customs fees and stuff. Nice. Same thing has happened before. Usually the UK stuff will show up on the USPS website. I've had to go to the Royal Mail website before, and it'll show there that it's delivered. So sometimes you just have to take that extra step, and you can't just rely on the information that's synced to eBay and assume that, if it doesn't show delivered, that you're just out. You need to do a little bit deeper research into that.
And so, yeah, I know that there's a lot of information in this this video. I hope you're taking notes. One of the good things is that you can go back and rewatch the stuff if you miss things. DJ asked earlier back, in order to use soft pack, poly mailer length times width on pirate ship for US and international, does it apply to clothing only? Okay, so first of all, it applies to anything, and that's actually for cubic. So the soft pack works for cubic as well. It's a different type of cubic measurement that they're using. It doesn't matter what you're putting in it. You can put a shoebox inside. If it fits the measurements, it's going to measure it that way. It's definitely just its length times width when it's laying flat before you stuff it. Doesn't matter what you stuff it with.
Because the idea with the poly mailer, when you're doing it with the soft pack, is that the reason you're only doing length times width is because when it's completely flat, and then if you know anything about the maths,
it can only get so thick.
Let's say you had it sealed, and then you were inflating it, you were blowing air into it, so it expanded, right? As it expands this way, it's about the volume. As it expands this way, the sides come in, right? So it's going to stay volume-wise, it's going to stay the same whether it's flat or it fills up. So you can put anything inside there, boxes, clothing.
See, maths.
Whatever, maths.
When they told you weren't going to need to use the geometry as an adult, they lied.
Well, who's saying that? I think it's just the kids who don't want to do the homework. But anyway, I think that, pretty much covers everything. We have bookkeeping down, but it's we're terrible at that part. So, but there's GoDaddy. I have GoDaddy. I think you have GoDaddy. Mm-hmm. Teresa swears by QuickBooks. There are different ones that
everybody's going to have a different method that works for them. I think I'm going to use or rely on Datamiine a lot more coming into the new year. But Yeah, I've been using GoDaddy since it was called outright. It was created by an eBay seller and sold to GoDaddy many years ago, or sold to eBay many years ago. So I've been in there since that was in beta and it was free.
Yeah. But bottom line, it's like there's so many different third-party apps and websites out there that do all kinds of different things. Some of them overlap, some of them don't. And I would just say you just want to do your research. You want to look at, you know, you got to figure out which ones work for you. Don't go crazy spending money on a bunch of different apps and sites. There are a lot of times free ones are going to do everything that you need them to do. If you are going to spend money, make sure it actually is giving you the return that you need. And if you're just starting out, you don't need to spend a bunch of money on this stuff. You know, pick and choose what you're going to be doing.
Exactly. Because if you add these up, I mean, you could be spending $100 a month on a bunch of apps and not using them enough.
Yeah.
For it to be worth it for you.
Angie,
I'm super cheap. Can I just tell you, out of all of these apps that we're talking about here, what do I pay for? Quick.
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy, $10 a month.
I pay for FitShipper, Sizely.
Sizely we share.
Yeah. Actually, Sizely, no, I don't pay anymore because they are a sponsor. So I do save that $7 a month, guys. So there. But I would be paying for it if I wasn't getting it. But yeah, I want to talk about anything. I want to talk about the attitude we're getting from Angie over here. First of all, apparently.
First of all, you're putting it to sleep.
Well, she says it's because she doesn't take her medicine, but I'm like, I feel like we should be important enough that she should make sure to take her medicine so she can stay awake. And then she's getting after us about the raccoon on the wall.
No, she's getting after you, not me. She wants me to put my stuff back up.
But here's the thing, Angie. So yesterday I met up with Sandy for lunch. Sandy is sometimes she's Rags, sometimes she's Padiddles in the chat, depending on which computer she's on. She's logged into different YouTube accounts, but she's here local in the Las Vegas area, and
kind of sort of. I mean, she's way up in Centennial Hills.
She hooked me up,
practically Utah,
with the record frames that I've been wanting to get, and I had to pay a pretty steep price for them. I had to buy her tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was forced to eat tacos so that I could get these record frames.
Oh,
but guys, I just got them yesterday. So I haven't put them up yet, but I did put them in the frames. So I was going to show you what I got. I was going to show you what I got here because I think they're pretty cool. So I have a bunch of records. I collect record soundtracks, movie soundtracks and stuff.
I'm
starting to.
She's a new collector.
So my idea is that I'm going to put up different ones, and then I'll be able, as I get other ones, I can switch them out. So the wall will always be changing.
Interesting for the
so they're not always looking at the same
YouTubers.
Crap. Yeah, pretty much. But I'm keeping that raccoon. Okay, I'm keeping it. But anyway, so I've got, there's like Poetic Glare, but I've got like my Metropolis album in there in one of them. Mm-hmm. I've got it is coming, getting close to being October, which, I'm all about the horror movies. So just another reason for me to have horror stuff. So this
you never even listened to that one.
Well, I don't know if I want to open it. This is the John Carpenter anthology. So John Carpenter's one of my favorite horror directors. Although he's done some cool sci-fi and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, he does all of his own scoring, and so this is like it's like an anthology of his soundtracks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. That was a gift. That was my very first
Christmas gift.
Well, no, I was gonna say it was my very first soundtrack vinyl. This started the whole thing.
The first two came from me, actually.
And I've got Trauma's War. I was talking like on a show or two ago about my love for Trauma video. So this is Trauma's War, super schlocky. Love it. I've got Prom Night, Jamie Lee Curtis, 1980 horror movie, Leslie Nielsen. Super awesome. If you haven't seen this, it's rad. And then the last one I have, because I got 5 of these now. This is the second thing that Victoria gave me. So this is the first 2 pieces in my collection came from you. The first one was that John Carpenter anthology, and then the other one is this Nightmare on Elm Street 4 soundtrack. The Dream Master, guys. Like, how
that's
dope
like $100
is this?
album.
Yes, this is like $100 album, but she loves me.
I only paid $1 for it. I wouldn't have paid $100 for it. And I bought it to resell it, and it was kind of absconded with. Featuring
the theme "Love Kills" by Vinnie Vincent Invasion. Now, I will say I've got tons that I really want to get, but one of the ones I really want to get next is the Return of the Living Dead soundtrack, because it's like an awesome punk soundtrack, and I really want to get. And it's one of my favorite movies. It's pretty much, I think it's the movie that got me obsessed with zombies. I watched it too young. I think I was about 6 or 7 when I saw it, because we went to my cousin's.
Were you not scared to death?
Oh, I was. We went to my cousin's house when we were at my grandparents'. My cousin lived right down the road, and we were like, we're gonna go watch Annie. And so they were like, okay. So all us kids went over there, and we watched Maximum Overdrive, which as an adult I realized is an awful movie because Stephen King is a great writer but a terrible director, and that's the only one he directed himself. And then Return of the Living Dead, which is Dan O'Bannon, is the one co-writer of the movie Alien. Great writer. He directed that, and it's really, really good. I love it.
But did you know that even though Stephen King is a terrible director, he makes a cameo appearance in every single Stephen King movie that's ever been made?
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. It's just when he directs himself, it's pretty awful.
Karen, I didn't buy it as a gift. I bought it to resell it. It was stolen from me by her, and then she's like,
I looked at her real sad, and I was like, don't you want me to be happy in life? And she begrudgingly gave it to me.
Pretty much. And I'm going to throw it in her face for the rest of my life, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, those are going to go up on the wall, and now I need to buy more albums so that I can change them out somewhat frequently so that I can keep you guys like you guys really care. But
and Karen, I would totally brag about paying $1 for a gift.
Yeah.
No shame in my thrifting game.
Yeah. I mean, if it's awesome.
Although my friends and family, other than Katie, nobody else would want or accept anything that's been thrifted. Don't get me wrong. So
now, if she goes to like the Dollar Tree and she's like, "Hey, I got you this like window squeegee for $1 for your birthday," I'd be like, thanks. But if it's like the coolest thing ever in the world, if you like found me Return of the Living Dead on vinyl and you were like, "I found this for $1, it's your present," I'd be like, hot diggity dog. Or maybe I'd be like, yeah.
That's my ear. See, she talks about things. She's deaf in her left ear. I'm gonna be deaf in my right ear from that.
I don't see what the problem is. But anyway. All right. The store, Keeping It Beachy says, Katie, could you direct me to the store policy video? I watched it, but need to do it again. Go look at our videos, and you can actually do a search and just search for business policies, and it should pop up. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Anyway, hey guys, we're not going to let this show go over as long as we normally do because we both have like a lot of work that we need to do. I have a lot of listing I need to do. Haven't gotten a lot done in the past few days because I've been working on other stuff.
I got a lot of listing to do.
But we need to get some stuff done. So, hey, thanks for watching. I know this is like jam-packed full of information. I'm going to go ahead and start that thread over in the Boss Facebook group. So if you're not in the Boss Facebook group, you should join.
Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And because we want people to get more into the conversation about it and talk about their own personal experiences using these ones and also contributing other ones that you use as well. Because
yeah, like by no means is this a comprehensive list.
We don't know everything. We try to think that we do, but we don't. Anyway, guys, next show is going to be on Friday.
There will be no pants.
No pants Friday. So you should come hang out with us.
If you haven't hit the thumbs up, please gently tap the thumbs up. If you don't like us, well, 3 of you don't. So I'll try not to be heartbroken.
My self-worth is plummeting. All right, guys, we will see you later. Get back to your listing because it is Boss Up and List Day, virtual all day listing party, party on, and boss up. Was that your bye?
That was my bye. See you Friday.
Bye.